Do the do! I love the Mountain Dew themed bikes and the commercialism here in 1996's Jet Moto for the original Sony PlayStation, a game which could have easily been called Biker Scout Challenge. They should have just gone all the way with the Star Wars license, because these are basically speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi, but the packaging would lead you to believe that they are jet skis. Like the first race features jet skis, and then everything else is pretty ridiculous. These are basically future death sleds, kind of like Wipeout, but frankly not nearly as good. This game is interesting. It's really tough, I'll say that. It's a good looking game for the PlayStation, one that kind of reminds me of Wave Race 64 on the N64. I mean, they both have the same kind of thing going on, where you're riding these jet ski-like things. Well, on Wave Race, you are riding jet skis, but your future death jet ski is affected by the terrain, by waves, by, hey, nice trophy. I love the 1990s comic book style artwork featured throughout the menus. Now this track is deadly. It does look nice though. This is a pretty good looking game for an early PlayStation release. Make sure to hit the circle button and use your electronic laser super grapple or whatever that thing is on the grappling posts. In fact, if you're going to get anywhere in this game, you need to get really good at grappling. Also, track memorization. This is really hard. This is like NES hard. Back when these games were super challenging. There's just nothing forgiving about Jet Moto at all. In fact, I couldn't even unlock a single track in this game. I think you have to actually beat the championship on hard, and I could barely do it on amateur after several hours of gameplay. So thankfully there are cheat codes you can find online, but they really don't make the game any easier. They just unlock all the tracks. And the tracks are pretty cool for the era. I would have loved this game in 1996. This track in particular is very cool. I do question the realism, however. This is a major safety hazard. This is like racing in Cloud City. These days, Jet Moto can be had for just a couple bucks. In fact, I picked up all 3 games recently for a few dollars as I'm working on a bunch of PlayStation stuff right now. It's a series I always wanted to try out, and I'm glad I did, but it's not as good as Wipeout. I actually had incorrectly assumed this was more like Wave Race 64, like a real jet ski game. I didn't expect them to be future rocket death sleds, but I like these suicide races, as they call them here, where you race on a shorter track and then use your grapple hook, swing around, and then turn back into oncoming traffic and try to win that way. These designers were sadists. Not very nice people. They must have drank a lot of Mountain Dew. I used to live on that stuff back in the mid-90s. When I was a teenager, I just drank gallons of Mountain Dew, which probably explains a lot. Master your grapple hook, or die. I actually kind of prefer the more straightforward ones, and the winter tracks are a lot of fun. There's a variety of riders to choose from, each with their own 1990s comic book style. These look like the old Image comics. I was associated with the Jim Lee era of the X-Men, back when Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee were super popular. The music in this game is not bad at all. The surf track is my favorite, but I always go for surf music in video games. It complements gaming well. There's another laser grapple hook back into oncoming traffic. I like this track. This track is like straight out of Return of the Jedi. These remind me of Biker Scouts. If the Empire was sponsored by Mountain Dew. And who's to say they weren't, really? The death scenes are hilarious. If you like these old school mid to late 90s racing games and future death sled racing games like Wipeout, and you're looking for some serious challenge, this is a very difficult game, harder than it looks. Check out Jet Moto. There's 3 of these on the PlayStation, and then the series seems to have vanished, which is a shame. But for a few dollars, you can find this one and increase your big thirst for Mountain Dew. Classic Game Room has been brought to you by the ultra-massive Video Game Console Guide, 230 pages of video games on Amazon.com, Retro Megatrex, and how to make a video game review show that doesn't suck. And Jesus number 2. Welcome to the Patreon Lord Carnage Club, being shouted from a turbo volcano. Michael and Ariana Nelson, Ian Shore, Steven Chucknick, Al Stever, Rick DeBarros, Jason Goy, Andy Schleiss, Sergio Matthias Hergert, Philip Strabenmuller, Jack Stavris, Ohad Kane, Simon Allen, and Sean Zoltek.